So, Google have held a major event, Apple have held a major event, Microsoft and Sony have both been talking about their gaming stuff. Reddit and Twitter are currently imploding, and Instagram's just launched Threads, a competitor to that. And whilst all of this has been going on, Microsoft is still trying to purchase Activision Blizzard. And I've been gone since February. My name's Luke, this is Dynamic Digital World, and let's get started. Just quickly during the intro. Yes, I have been gone since February, 5 months, I think, since my last episode, something like that. Stupid long time, I'm aware. Long story short, A-levels suck, in terms of just free time to yourself and doing things you want. I've been wanting to make an episode for ages now. I wanted to make one after the Google event, after the Apple event, after the PlayStation event, after the Microsoft event, Microsoft Xbox event, after Microsoft Build Conference. When the whole stuff was kind of going down with Reddit, I wanted to make one. When it was happening with Twitter, again, I wanted to make one, although to be fair, Twitter was kind of more recent. But when Twitter first started going downhill, then things kind of went up again. I wanted to do one then. I've been so busy. Anyone who UK people, you know what I'm on about. When you're in these 3 months and you're doing A-level exams, everything else kind of goes out the window. You don't really do anything apart from if you're studying hard. You don't really do anything else. You just study for your A-levels for 4 hours a day when you're not in college, and then the days you're in college, your very little bit of downtime is just spent chilling and watching a bit of YouTube and having a dinner. You don't have time. So it's just nice to kind of be done with everything. And then I wanted to record an episode about a week ago, or 2 weeks ago now, but obviously the trial started with the FTC and Microsoft, and new stuff was coming out during the evening, so whenever I recorded, by the time I upload, it was always going to be too late. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll just hold off until the trial's over. We're meant to have a decision really quickly, so trial can end, and then next week I'll have a decision, or by midweek hopefully, so I'll do it. And then it was okay, it hasn't come by midweek, it's going to come any day now, so it's you're waiting for that kind of last piece of information to come through, and I'm kind of realising, okay, it's not coming through. So I'm now recording on Saturday, July 8th. Sorry I've been gone for so long, and also sorry that I'm going to be having to half lift up my chair. It's so old now, it's barely holding together. I've had it for 10 years, so that's really fun. But life has been insanely crazy. Kind of doing a rebrand of everything as well. I'm launching my own website, should be launching soonish, TM. That's literally the best term I have for it. It'll launch soonish. Maybe even be up by the time this episode is out. If it's up by the time this episode is out, then I'll have a small thing after the intro just saying, hey, my new episode's here, my new website's here, go check it out. You can see my development portfolio, links to all the podcasts Dynamic Digital does, obviously, link to the Dynamic Digital website, all of that stuff will all be on there. So yeah, right, that's it for the intro. Sorry I've been gone so long. I'm so glad we're back, and let's get started. Okay, so segment 1 time now. Let's kind of just talk first about the events that have happened, the big events that have happened in terms of announcements and stuff over the last few months. Just a very quick 5-minute quick recap. So Google I/O was held. Google spent most of it talking about AI. There wasn't too much focus on Android stuff. They had a few devices. They launched a Pixel tablet. Awesome, I like it. It's £600 in the UK, so a bit expensive when it's $500, it's like, I feel like Google didn't do the conversion rate or something. Maybe it's just to do with value-added tax, because I know that's a pain, but whatever it is, it's annoying. I'm just gonna be honest, it's annoying to know it's 100, basically, like, it costs more in the UK than it does in the US. But then it's obviously not worth importing from the US because shipping charge will make up that difference anyway. So you kind of just can't really, it's just not really justifiable if you're in the UK, which is such a shame, because I really like the look of it and it has some really cool features. Like, it literally works as like a Nest Hub when you're not using it. So instead of just putting it in a drawer or having it lying somewhere, you can actually just like put it somewhere it's meant to be. Instead of having a Nest Hub, you just have your tablet and you can do anything you want on it, whilst it's just sat there on the tablet that's also charging it and keeping it just like at a decent battery level. I'm assuming they got some sort of smart battery thing, because this is the sort of thing that lots of people are going to be keeping on that stand. So if they don't, then I don't know. I'm assuming that they would do, just based on past experience with Google and how they kind of manage batteries on a Pixel device. Speaking of a Pixel phone now, let's talk about 7a. Hey, $100 less than the Pixel 7. It's really close. Like, honestly, the differences are minute. It's slightly smaller, it's 6.1 inches, has a plastic back and smaller camera sensor, but it's using the same processor. It seemed to be a really good device from what the reviewers are saying. I mean, I don't get my hands on these devices, but man, it's a very compelling option in the high mid-range market. It's like this, it's weird. The phone market's so weird in Android. Like, you've got the low end, like where you're spending like £100 on a basic Android device that can like make text, do a call, browse the web, but you probably can't do more than one of those at the same time. Then you've got the mid-range market, which Samsung just, hands down, Samsung dominates like most of this market, most of this like non-flagship market in lots of ways, because they just release one for like every single price band. So there's a reason Samsung has the most phones out there in public. It's because they release more phones. And then you've got like the kind of step up tier, which is probably like, I don't know, 200 to 300 quid, where you kind of like, you can do a bit of multitasking, but you can't do too much. And then you've got kind of like high mid-range, what I call high mid-range. So that's like your Pixel 7a, your Galaxy A50 series. Now, I think they got rid of the A7 series. Kind of makes sense because the A5 series was actually decent. I had an A7 series and I got an Android update after the A5 series, which didn't really make sense to me, because like it just didn't make sense to me, which is actually kind of why I thought those were Team Pixel, because like Samsung aren't valuing the people who bought their most expensive phones, they're valuing people who bought the one below me. It's like, why do I have to wait until after the lower range one from the same generation gets updated? I'm moving to Pixel with the Pixel 6. So glad I did. I've had this phone for like nearly 2 years. Battery life, do not listen to people who tell you battery life is terrible. Honestly, it's far from it. Like, I'm not going to say that they're wrong, because like, they probably just had different experience to me. But in my opinion, if you turn on the smart battery usage settings, which like limit how much charge runs and stuff, and you just have to leave it on, right? Don't turn it off, because what it does is it learns when you're using your phone the most. Unfortunately for me at the minute, because well, again, summer holidays until like end of August, let's go. That's basically the whole time. So yeah, but it's good. And then the last kind of hardware announcement is obviously the Google Pixel Fold. Everyone's heard about this thing. It's genuinely really good. It's got the strongest hinge on a foldable. It's been tested by Joe Rig Everything. He said it seems like one of them. So whilst it is Google's marketing words, take it with a pinch of salt, Joe Rig Everything tested, said it does seem that it could be true. Take from that what you will. I don't know if you trust that or not. But personally, to me, that's quite a big endorsement. I mean, he literally chucked a load of dust and sand in there, and it did absolutely fine. There was no creaking on the hinge from what he said. Although you can bend the hinge back too far, and whilst the hinge won't break and the hinge will still work actually, which is quite amazing, the inner display did stretch and kind of come off of its rails, so it stopped working again. Realistically, if you're buying this phone, which is about like 17 to 80, it's $1,800 US, you kind of you would assume that you're going to be much more careful with it than you would be with like a standard slab phone that's like it's $1,000, which is still expensive, but like, you know what I mean, like you would assume that you're getting a foldable phone, you know it has a little bit more of a durability thing, you're just going to have to be more careful. But at the end of the day, at the same time, it doesn't seem like it was super like it didn't seem easy to break from when he did it. It didn't seem too easy. He's strong. Don't forget, he breaks smartphones like very often, so he probably built up a lot of strength doing that. Also, yeah. So I'm just assuming that he's like probably stronger than average, and also he didn't do a sit test, so we will find out what happens in terms of a sit test if someone decides to do one. One small thing though, do not just go out and buy it. There are some issues with the display, because the screen protector can't go all the way around to the edges, or at least doesn't, probably due to manufacturing tolerances. Some people have reported that when they get dust in their device, if they close it and the dust manages to puncture one side of the screen, then the entire screen just stops working. I don't know, concerning, definitely. Haven't seen many, but I've seen it like twice, I think. I've seen comments about that like twice, so it doesn't seem to be like it's a super common issue. Again, we'll have to wait and see. It's still a very small sample size of people who have had it, obviously. Personally, hoping that does actually become a fewer and fewer percentage, not higher and higher percentage. We'll find out, but I'm holding my breath because I really, really want one later this year. I don't want to go back to Samsung, so if my phone upgrade this year ends up being a Pixel 8, then I'm happy with that, but if it's not a Pixel 8 and I can get a Pixel Fold, even better. Again, literally just depends on like what happens with regards to all of this stuff. So there's that. Let's talk about WWDC. This event was amazing. Oh my days. I don't know, I'm sure not many of you have seen it, but like, just Apple Vision Pro, I genuinely did not think it would be released. We've been hearing about this device for so many years now. Just like, these analysts are going to say it's coming out every year, and they're going to get postponed every year, and they're going to hold their luck. Just like, they will technically seem to be repeatable still, because they will say, hey, it's been delayed again. It might not appear, but it still could appear, but I don't think it will. Like, they kind of walk back their comments, and they've done that so many times now. And then they didn't this time, and then Apple revealed it towards the end of the event. This thing looks awesome, but it's also $3,500 US, so I'm never gonna have one. But on my days, seriously, I have not seen like. Okay, there's currently a thunderstorm outside. I apologise if that's coming through on the mic. Can't really do anything about that. Kind of awesome though. I don't mind a bit of rain considering how hot it's been recently in the UK. But like, the Apple Vision Pro is amazing. There's a new M2 Ultra chips. There's a new Mac Studio with M2 Ultra and M2 Max. Just an upgrade in specs. People kind of thought they would both be killed off, but I'm quite glad they're not, because they're kind of like this. They're this weird mid-range, right, between like what you need and then what you like. Some people who are working in studio don't need the extensibility of a Mac Pro, but then they still need the power of a Mac Pro. And that's kind of where I see the Mac Studio with M2 Ultra fitting in. The M2 Ultra is an amazing chip. Like, don't get me wrong, the ability of Apple to combine two of their chips together is insane. With the new Mac Pro though, there's no longer support for PCIe GPUs. Hot take, I'm going to say it, probably not a big deal. Let's be honest now, most people aren't going to buy a, however much it is, I think it's like $6,000 US or something, to play video games. Let's just be real, like, you've got enough GPU compute power in there anyway. but it wouldn't be an issue, I don't think. But even if you didn't, you're not buying that to play video games. You're buying that for like professional studio users, most likely. There will be some people who would buy it for gaming if they could. I'm not going to say there wouldn't be, but hey, we will see what people decide to do with it. Apple also released a game porting toolkit for macOS, speaking of gaming. Again, Apple kind of abandoned the gaming scene a while back. It was weird. It's weird to see Apple suddenly like getting Hideo Kojima in their presentation and having him like try and get developers to build games for macOS. It just, I don't know why, but to me, Apple and gaming just don't go together anymore. Like, yes, they had a push. Halo was originally going to be released on macOS, but they've gone so far the other way for like not caring in recent years, and now they're like, hey, let's bring gaming back, and it's quite cool to see. Honestly, it's also the first bunch of ARM games as well, which is so awesome. Like, I haven't actually seen any games really being made for like ARM-based devices. Like, with the exception of Android and iPhone games, that's a different thing entirely. With the exception of Android and iPhone games, I haven't seen like a proper ARM-based system being supported with gaming, and Apple is just out here kind of saying, hey, come over to macOS with ARM, we have all the GPU. But the thing is, like, with Apple, it's like, once you buy the computer, there's no upgrade later option, right? Like, you can't swap your processor out for another one, or you can't swap out the GPU for another one unless you buy a whole new computer. Bit of a drawback for me. I would probably rather use my PC, where I literally just replaced the GPU on. It took me like 5 minutes, actually, really quick. I did not realise it was that easy to do a GPU replacement. So I'm quite happy with this thing. But yeah, so that was kind of Apple's event in a nutshell. They had a couple of other announcements, some iOS features, some iPad features, just like widgets now interactable, iPad lock screen can be customized, 2 iPhones can be held close together and you will share your name and phone number with them. Really cool features, don't get me wrong. Not my kind of thing. In terms of like just being able to accidentally hold your phone next to someone. I think you might have to accept the prompt. I hope you do. Could be wrong. We will find out. But it looks awesome. Still no side loading. Apple have until like early next year to allow side loading in the EU. And no one can find any references to it. Like, that doesn't mean it's not being worked on. It will be worked on because Apple should, in theory, comply with the regulation. I'd expect Apple to comply given the amount of money that's kind of able to be taken by the EU under the legislation. But how they choose to comply is still up in the air. If they choose to comply just in the EU, it's an absolute pain. If they apply it globally, I can see myself swapping to an iPhone. Honestly, I can see myself swapping to an iPhone if they do it globally. I think iPhones have so many cool features now, and they are really catching up to Android in customizability, honestly. Like, okay, sure, but no more custom launchers. I'm not too fussed about customizing my launcher. I do use Niagara Launcher on my phone. Amazing launcher, give it a try if you haven't. But no sponsors or anything, you know this show, no sponsors, no money from it, just pure news. I do use it on my phone. It is genuinely amazing, the way that you kind of like scroll list, you know what apps you're looking for, the first letter of it, you go to that area. Just, it's got so many cool features. But like, I'm not too fussed. I like the iPhone interface. I could use an iPhone if they allow side loading globally. Sign me up, honestly. I think as long as I just take a look at the features, I make sure that it does have everything I need. But then, yeah, I'd also lose the whole foldable display thing, which would be a shame. I don't know. There's ups and downs to it. There's positives and negatives on both sides. We'll have to see what happens, really. I will probably just stick with Android because I just kind of can't go from Android. Like, I've been with Android for so long now. Like, all of my stuff is Android. I've got systems in place for syncing to my computer, obviously. I worry that, like, I wouldn't be able to adapt to an iPhone because I'm so used to how Android handles everything, but you never know. So that's what those two have been up to. Just a quick note, reference on the gaming event side as well, because I'm just going to do like tech events in one big segment. Sony's, I like PlayStation games. Right, I like PlayStation games. Their games are amazing. Don't get me wrong, their games are amazing. Their console is amazing as well. Their business practices, a bit questionable to me, but again, I digress. They didn't have many exclusives shown. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I think there were more multi-platforms than Sony's single platform shows normally have. Like, you normally see like loads of exclusives launched at a Sony show, and I love seeing them because they make amazing games. I don't have a PS5, I wait for PC release because I can wait a few years, and I can't afford a PS5 with my PC. I got my PC, I have a Series S for games that just only come out on a console and don't come out on PC. I have a Series S for that. And it's just like, I can't justify PS5. Like, if they made a cheap PS5 Lite or something, hands down, I would actually fully consider it. But on the other hand, it's like, I brought a PS4, and then the next month, after Sony had been saying for months, we're not going to release games on PC, they then released Spider-Man on PC, and I was just kind of a bit jaded, so I'm just kind of like, you've been saying you won't release games on PC, and then you release games on PC, I'll just wait for you to release it on PC. So, I don't know, I'm still a bit annoyed at Sony for just the way they kind of blatantly lied to their customer base. It was kind of a bad move, in my opinion. Microsoft had their event again. It was not the best event. Lots of people are saying that they kind of destroyed Sony. Lots of people are saying that they have a better showing. If you want to talk about the sheer number of exclusives, yes, 100%. They had a higher number of exclusives shown. If that's what it takes for it to be a win, then that's a win. But exclusive with a release date, there weren't many. I think there was like one or two that had like a solid release date, and then the others just kind of 2024 or coming soon. All games shown are going to be on Game Pass, I think, though. So hey, stay with Game Pass, definitely. But again, I'm just kind of like at this point now where, especially gaming events, they're kind of just not capturing me really. Both of them actually, they didn't really manage to catch me. Nintendo's Direct, that caught me. I'm gonna be honest. It caught me with the Mario announcements. Super Mario RPG, Super Mario Wonder. Those two, I will play, hands down. That caught me, but again, it was kind of like it didn't really... I wasn't really captured by it. I don't know, probably just worn out from exams at this point and stuff, but hey, I didn't feel captured by it. That's kind of that. So that's kind of all of our main tech announcements. We will see kind of what comes up later in the year for major announcements. We know we've got an Apple event in, I'd assume September. It's normally September. You know, they could surprise us. We've got Samsung in a couple of weeks as well, where they're releasing their new foldables. So we'll see what improvements we get on the foldable side. Could be awesome, could be bad. We just don't know. And then we've also, of course, we got Google later this year. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to take a guess. So we know Samsung are basically going to be releasing the Z Fold 5, the Z Flip 5, and the Galaxy Watch 6. Awesome, I like it. Maybe some new Galaxy Buds. I don't mind. I like the Galaxy Buds. They're good. But we will see. Apple. I'm expecting a mention of the iPhone 15 lineup. Whatever the next Apple Watch series is, I've lost track of the numbering for the Watch series now. Maybe some new iPads. Wouldn't be surprised. And then I'm also expecting maybe another mention of the Apple Vision Pro. Okay, that's everything for the tech news section. I'm going to move on to talking about the Twitter and Reddit implosions, protests, and the arrival of threats. I will see you in the next segment. Okay, so just last segment of this episode. Promise, it's a long one. I'm sorry. Just first one back. I'm so happy to be recording again. Like, honestly. Okay, so let's talk about the social media and what I'm calling the social media shake. So this is kind of a big deal because for the last however many years, right? Just think about it for a second. For the last how many years have everyone been using? Have lots of people been using Reddit? Like, lots of people have been using Twitter. Lots of people have been using Instagram, Facebook. You know, you've been using all these same platforms for years now, right? And Instagram's saying, I think Instagram's actually doing like decent. I don't use social media much, but it seems to be going well. But then you've got Reddit, which is really weird because in May they announced a massive, like, basically that their API, which is basically a thing that companies use to develop applications based off of Reddit, was going to become paid after however many years of it being free. That of itself doesn't sound controversial, but when one of your biggest third-party apps, which was Apollo, when you're going to charge them $20 million a year, it's kind of a bit like, okay, you're just trying to squeeze out anything that's like helped you get to this point. Bit wrong. So yeah, like, it's just wrong. So basically, they then had all of the person that develops Apollo, their developer, had recorded conversations they'd had with Reddit, and they then released these tapes basically of them. I believe they were released, and it's quite a bombshell actually, because it shows that Reddit's leadership blatantly lied to third-party app developers. Reddit's response was that we don't want to do business with someone who's recording private phone calls. He lives in a one-party consent, which is in Canada, so because he consents, he can record. I don't know how I feel about that sort of thing, but in my opinion, that's, there's nothing wrong with his morality, because when Reddit then tries to defame him and say he refused to negotiate with us, he refused to talk with us, he refused to even try and compromise, he's then releasing these and defending himself, and they're saying, oh no, you're still wrong for recording it. It's like, so like, they're just attacking him. They were just attacking him, and then a load of subreddit said, okay, fine, you know what? If Reddit wants to play hardball, we can play hardball back. We're going to go private, no one's going to be able to access anything, it's going to be a massive thing for Reddit for at least 48 hours, if they don't change it for probably longer. Lots of them went on for longer. I was quite surprised again to see that happening. There were like thousands of subreddits offline and stuff. It was just insane, the number of subreddits that kind of just switched off for a long period of time. They're kind of mostly back now. Reddit basically threatened them, saying, hey, come back or we get rid of everything. So that was interesting. Lots of them came back because they knew that if they got removed and then new moderators came in, they might not care as much about the community, so they were kind of like, to keep the community running, I'm going to reopen. Then some said you now have to include John Oliver in your posts, and that was cool. But then some went not safe for work. So the not safe for work ones meant Reddit wasn't getting any money from them. And then Reddit threatened both of those groups. Oh, I think they already actually did the not safe for work ones. I don't know if they did anything for the John Oliver ones. Saying, hey, you can't just change your thing to not safe for work, change it back, or again, basically we'll remove you and replace you. Similar response, they removed it, I think. I don't know, it's just Reddit And now this whole thing's gone into effect, so there's not really anything that protests can do. It's kind of over. It's weird, because like the Reddit community is so powerful that together they clearly had the ability to just like destroy the platform. Like they could very easily just like destroy the platform if all the mods left and it didn't touch anything for like 2-3 days. The entire thing would go mental, right? These are volunteers that have dedicated their lives, and Reddit's just like, we know you've helped out a lot, and we know these things make it easier for you, but we don't care. It just, I don't know, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but at the same time, it's kind of like their platform, they technically make the rules, but I disagree with their rules. So there's a lot of like, there are definitely two sides, but I know that I'm not on Reddit's side. So there's that. So that kind of Reddit's in this weird position. I don't really know where Reddit stands now. I haven't been on Reddit since the whole thing has started, so I won't be going on Reddit. But that's my one person not using Reddit protest. You do what you choose to do. That's up to you. And then there's also, which is this is weird. Twitter. What on earth is Elon Musk doing? I'm sorry. He buys Twitter, and then he limits the amount of time people can spend on Twitter. People can't be on Twitter much anymore. He changed the meaning of verification, so it no longer means you are who you say you are. It means you paid for Twitter. And now people just suddenly start like wanting a new app, and then the new app comes, which is Threads, and then that was popular for a couple of days, and now people seem to be like kind of over the whole Threads hype. And some people are kind of going back to Twitter, at least temporarily. Again, Threads does still have a chance of taking over, I think. But I can still see a possibility where Threads is taking over from Twitter, but Meta basically, because it's made by Meta, which is the company that owns Instagram, they really need to develop this thing fast because it is not ready. I understand why they pushed the launch. I'm assuming that they pushed the launch forwards. It just, I don't feel like they would have planned to release it in this date. But like, they got 20 million users within 24 hours. Like that is insane. That is actually an insane number of users in 24 hours. Because everyone already had an Instagram account. And then they created a fear of missing out, because every single person who joined Threads, you have a number next to your Instagram name that shows when you joined. I'm actually quite impressed. I was within 32,000 people on. That was quite cool. But like it's just, I don't know. It's just weird. It's so weird about the way that they're doing this, because like they don't have a followers only feed, like the people you follow only feed, which is just, it's all for you. And like you get it from like random times as well. There's no chronological view. I'm not a fan of that kind of thing. Like I exclusively used the like following chronological feed on Twitter because it allowed me to get the latest on Twitter. And if that's not going to be on Threads, I don't think it'll work, because people really use that a lot. So I don't know. But again, it's new. They've, I think, probably pushed it out quicker than they wanted to. So we'll see where they go. For all we know, on Monday we'll get like a slew of new features that literally just make it Twitter for Twitter but different. Elon is currently suing Meta for releasing it, so that's interesting. We'll see where that goes. Probably nowhere, because Elon, I don't know, I think it will go nowhere. But yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye out. But it is so weird to see, like, everyone hated, no one really liked Twitter, but now no one likes Twitter. Like, just, how can you take something that no one likes but they still use anyway and make it to, now no one likes it and no one wants to use it? Like, how did Elon Musk manage to do that since from October to now? Hasn't even had a whole year with the company yet. Like, it's just, his free speech for everyone was basically a ruse from what anyone can tell. Like, he's banning certain things, but then allowing certain other things. I'm not going to mention any opinions, obvious reasoning, but it's very kind of, it feels very haphazardly run. I thought they were meant to be getting a new CEO. Maybe they do have a new CEO. I can't tell who the CEO of Twitter is. I don't know. I genuinely think that if Meta can get Threads to a good place, then it will just blow Twitter out, and Meta will then own everyone's data, which that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother conversation. But genuinely, I think Twitter may be at risk in a minute. If Elon doesn't do something to like change it, like, I still haven't run into that limit, to be fair. I doubt most people will run into the limit, but I think that the way it's going is quite a weird direction for the head of a social media company to be taking their social media company, like, to limiting how much people can use it. So, I don't know. We will see. Yeah, I think that's kind of everything. The website will be launched today. Hopefully, link will be in the description when this is done. If it's not launched today, it will be tomorrow. It's basically ready. I just need to do some infrastructure stuff today. And then you'll have like a basic website. I'm not saying it's going to be an amazing website yet, but it will be a basic website. So, quite cool. Full backend developed by myself. Using Next.js for it and stuff. It's going to be cool. So, yeah, that's it. My name's Luke. This is Dan at Digital World, and thank you so much for listening. We are back, and we are back on streak. I would like to be able to say I'm aiming for a daily streak, but I am at my actual work a lot over the next couple of weeks, so probably not. But I'll aim for a consistent streak. Also, when we get the Activision ruling, I will definitely just, even if it's just a 5-second clip, I will just like put a podcast out just to say, hey, rulings come out, Microsoft was, the preliminary injunction for the FTC was denied, or it was granted, and then kind of what that means for the rest of that case. I'm going to do a full episode on that Digital Dive about the whole Microsoft Activision case. So go check that out. Again, link will be in the description when it's there. I'm not going to say it's there immediately, but when it is there, it will be down there. But for now, thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.